Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to A Natural Gallant Bodybuilding, and if I'm glaring at you right now, it's only because the sun's in my eyes, because it's nice and cozy and warm, because as you can see, it snowed a little bit and it's a little colder outside. Not super cold, but cold enough. Anyway, today I want to talk to you a little bit about information and experience, and I know I've talked about this subject a lot, but recently I got a little bit of hate from somebody I know, and that's fine. It's actually a blessing always, because when you get a little bit of hate, you can see how people are misinterpreting you or what you are sharing. So one statement this guy made is that I act like I invented partial reps or partial ranges of motion. And I want to be very clear about this. I did not invent partial ranges of motion. It's just that that is the most glaring part of my training that I've had to defend since I jumped on YouTube years ago, is that I was not meeting the expectations of many of the people that were viewing me, and they're saying, hey, you're supposed to go lower on bench press, or you're supposed to go lower in your squat, and that doesn't work. So recently my brother posted in the Facebook group a study that showed that partial ranges of motion did work with tricep training. And the context of this post is really to show that partial reps also work. They're not the only way to gain muscle mass. They're not the only way to get sports performance, but they are one way. So this is how information sometimes gets misunderstood, or people misunderstand the context of why I'm posting things or why I make videos on certain subjects. But really my goal is, and this is always my goal, is to get you to detach from information, even my information, as much as to try things out for yourself and to find out what your own experience is. That's really the basis of this channel, is to take an axe and cut off this bunch of attachments that people have to information that is just comparing a bunch of results from all different sorts of people, different sorts of constitutions, and also pieces of information that are totally taken out of context in certain scenarios. So that's the reason why I post videos. I don't post videos to say, train my way. I post videos to say, train your way, or find out what your way is. And yes, you can start with my template. You can start with trying some of the things that I'm talking about, but by no means am I saying the way that I gain muscle is the only way you can gain muscle. Although I'm getting a lot of people telling me that they're getting great results trying some of the things that I've offered on this channel, right? So my main techniques that I really talk about is finding the efficient range of motion, finding out where the tension is on the muscle belly. As a general rule, I've found this to be a very significant thing. Now, if you're feeling a stretch, you don't want to be, at least in my experience, you don't want to be feeling the tension right in the tendon insertion. You don't want to be feeling also the joints, right in the joints themselves, the majority of the pressure. You want to feel most of the pressure or tension in the middle of the muscle belly, and that's going to bring you the most results. So a classic example is preacher curl. Sometimes guys will do preacher curls and they'll come down low and they'll feel nothing but elbow pain in here, and then at some point they tear a bicep or something, and they're like, well, I was just doing my preacher curls perfect. Why in the hell did I get a bicep tear? Well, it's because you weren't paying attention to where the tension is. So the tension should be mostly in the muscle belly, or even in the muscles around the elbow, but not in where the muscle is attaching into the bone and you're feeling this tearing feeling, or you're getting chronic inflammation in that area. These are signs that you may need to adjust your technique. Now, another thing you can also look at is adjusting your weight. If you're using a certain amount of weight, sometimes your form will be different than using a lighter weight. Let's just say this, your exercises can be a little bit more lenient when it comes down to form when you're working with lighter weights. Now, that doesn't exonerate you from having good form, because you can still mess yourself up with lightweight as much as you can with heavyweight in some cases, right? I mean, the most common back injury there is guys picking up a golf tee on a golf course. So that's the thing. You don't have to necessarily be lifting heavyweight in order to get injured, but the fact is that you can get away with a little bit more deviations in your form when you're using lighter weight. Now, another thing that, general thing that I found is also maxing out all the time in your lifts is not the best way to gain muscle in a lot of cases. And I've watched this with a lot of people, and I've watched it with myself, and I noticed that a lot more tweaks, sprains, and problems as well as not necessarily as much results happen for most people when they're doing 1 rep maxes all the time. And what I mean by 1 rep max is that you're straining your ass off for 1 rep. You can't get 2 reps. You can only get 1 rep, and you're just doing that 1 rep, right? This is different, of course, than some people say, hey, I do 1 rep for 10 sets, but I can actually probably do 5 reps of that weight, but I'm trying to refine the nervous system. That's a different scenario, so I'm not talking about that. But this is another general thing I'm sharing with you. Now, if you find that just straining on 1 rep because you've got like some sort of Viking joints or something like that, and you never get injured, it never bothers you, and you find you get the most results that way, then by all means continue to do it. I'm not telling you to do it my way. I'm just saying as a general trend for most people, I find that 1 rep maxes all the time will destroy them or injure them, or actually they will not get as much progress. Now, Garrison Bai, one of my patron supporters, he's noticing that he's getting great results with doing 50 rep sets. And I think this is a great thing, because as long as your muscles are hitting failure within 1 minute to 2 minutes, you know, somewhere in that area, like 0 to 2 minutes, you're hitting failure, you're still going to be in the hypertrophy system as far as gaining muscle mass. So don't be afraid to experiment with these different rep ranges like Garrison did, because I'm enjoying some high reps right now too. I just posted on Patreon, I was doing sets of 40 something reps on the bench last night, as well as 40 something reps of bent over rows and with close grip bench. So I do enjoy that type of pain from a weird sort of psychotic point of view. It's not necessarily something I want to sign up for all the time, but it is a different type of pain, and you know that something is adapting. I mean, 100% something in your body is adapting when you're doing sets of 50 reps for bicep curls, or especially legs. Like legs, it's brutal when you're doing sets of 50. So by all means, try these different rep ranges out too and see which one is giving you the best gains. So really, again, I'm going to come back around to what I was saying in the beginning. I'm here to say, experiment in the laboratory of life, especially when it comes down to the gym, and see which thing is actually giving you the measurable results, right? So I'm not talking about just your own experience, and you know, because some people start to think that I'm being all flaky, like, oh, Jason, well, somebody's experience, somebody might be crazy and they have this weird experience that they made gains, but they didn't. No, the gains are measurable. I mean, you will know if you're gaining 1 inch around on your legs, you can actually measure that. If you're getting 1 inch around on your arms, you can actually measure that. So start to experience your weight training, start to experiment with your experiences, and see which experiences are leading you to these gains, and that will help lead you to the next technique as well. So I've talked about this before, you know, experience is king. It's not necessarily about just information, but you have to start with the information, to start with a template, and then start to play in the sandbox of the gym, right? You know, little trucks and stuff. So anyway, I hope this helps you understand the context of why I post what I post and what I'm doing. Instead of misunderstanding my intentions. My intentions are not to initiate you into some sort of dogmatic thinking about how you should train, but ultimately on YouTube, a lot of times people will see you do something and they say, oh, that must be what that person believes in, and they're trying to get everybody else to train the same way. That's absolutely the opposite of what I'm trying to do. I'm saying this is what I found to be true for me. Find out what's true for you, and I hope this helps you out in your training. Thanks a lot for watching. And if you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturallandbodybuilding.com, and thanks a lot to the patron supporters, and take care for now.